Hello and welcome back. Okay, so today is going to be an interesting conversation because this is coming from a very deep place. This is coming from unpacking, processing, limiting beliefs in real time. This is where this was inspired from. This is what this is based in. But essentially, my intention for this video today is just to help you sort of understand the balance of your masculine and feminine energy. All of us have both energies within us. They are simply manifestations of energy. It's not necessarily gender-based. It's not necessarily society's view of what these are. This is purely coming from a very energetic level. So regardless of how you identify, you do have these energies within you, and when you're conscious and aware of them, you then can intentionally know when and how to use them, especially when manifesting. They're very, very helpful while manifesting because we already know the manifestation of something is simply creating something. It's bringing something to life, into physicality. So again, what sort of inspired this video was a deep conversation I was having with my partner one night, actually. And prior to this conversation, I was reflecting on what I'm about to talk about pretty heavily in the days prior. It was right after I released the Manifesting Your Goals videos, and I don't know exactly what triggered it. I guess it's just been one of those things that's been locked away in my mind, and it kind of just came out around this time because I'm gonna be honest with you, I have struggled with manifesting and attaining my goals and living my dream life for a really long time now. And I've done so many different things to try and manifest that and bring that to physicality. And I thought to myself, like, why is it that I've done all of this self-work? You know, I've done all of these manifestation techniques, I've done a ton of shadow work, I've done hypnosis, I've done affirmations every day, and yet I still feel that I have to actively go after what I'm trying to manifest. And I'm just gonna clarify that because that might sound kind of like, okay, yeah, duh, like you have to take action on what you want to achieve. But I guess I was looking at it from the perspective of like the surrender experiment. And I know that's a really popular book that I actually haven't gotten into yet, but the surrender experiment is definitely a book and a principle, a theory that was sort of conflicting with my thoughts around this time. So again, what I mean by that is, like, I feel like I've witnessed and observed other people just with ease and grace call things into their life, just manifest things into their life and surrender, like completely surrender and do very minimal effort things and really just go within themselves and reshape and shift their inner world and just call things into their life, like boom. Just they say one affirmation and it's like boom, there it is. And yet I feel as though when I've tried to do that, it almost just it doesn't hit. Like it just I just feel like I have to actively go after it, you know? And I guess I sort of carried that belief into my Manifesting Your Goals video for like the new year and stuff. And I thought to myself, like, dang, like that was not giving what I needed it to give, you know? I didn't want to create that video from a place of masculinity, essentially. And there's gonna be a video that I'm gonna make that's kind of like a follow-up to this. I don't know if I'm gonna release this one first or that one first, but essentially the video I'm talking about is You're a Human Being, Not a Human Doing. That'll be out prior to this video or like right after this video, so yeah. Where was I? Like I was saying, just for a long time, I felt that I had to take an active part in my manifestations, which I feel is a form of masculinity, because masculine energy is the energy of output. It is the energy of action. Think like Mars energy. Think like protect, provide, pursue, dominate, motivate. You know, having this like determination and this very action, goal-oriented energy, that's a very masculine thing. And like I said, in the past, with me having this belief that I had to take such an active role in my manifestations, that sort of was created with that sort of foundation in mind, that I had to have all of these structures and systems and habits and routines in order for me to get to where I want to be. And I thought to myself, is this coming from a wounded masculine place within myself? Because when I was in my ultra feminine era, okay, when I was in my soft girl era, this was around like, I want to say probably like a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. I was very minimal structure, very much like go with the flow energy. I woke up every day and surrendered. Literally, I did whatever I wanted to do. I just went within myself. I spent a lot of time alone and like in my flow and in creative energy, but I wasn't necessarily doing a lot of like output. You know what I mean? There wasn't a lot of structure, routine, or habits or anything like that. It was literally just like, let's go with the flow. Because I was sort of forming and developing, or at least trying to like decondition myself from the you have to hustle, you have to work hard in order to get to where you want to be mindset, and that sort of idea. Because I am also of the belief that you can completely surrender and just focus your energy inward to shift, you know, your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, and, you know, etc., to simply call things in and change the circumstances of your life, which again is a very feminine way of manifesting. But I think the way I was doing it before was leaning a little bit too much towards the feminine way of manifesting. And when I talk about the masculine way of manifesting, with taking that action and having those plans and goals and structures and routines, versus the feminine way of manifesting and being very go with the flow, being in your creative energy, focusing your energy inward, surrendering, I'm talking about active manifesting and passive manifesting, which essentially is like the basis of this video, you know? And what I then started to realize is when you're leaning more towards one versus the other, when you're trying to manifest something, things may not play out entirely the way you would expect them to. And listen, some of what I'm saying still might be rooted in some sort of limiting belief, okay? These are things I am still working towards. I can humbly admit that. So, you know, I'm right now constantly having to remind myself, like, Tiara, remember the balance, remember the divine union of masculine and feminine, and this sort of paradox that we live in. We live in a world full of duality. In this world, so much duality exists. We have dark, we have light, we have positive, we have negative. We have cause, we have effect. We have black, we have white. We have fate, and we have free will. You could even view it that way. And if you're looking at duality through the lens of the Hermetic principles, then you would know that all of these things are simply degrees of the same thing. They are all the same thing, split into the concept of two opposing things for us to understand with the level of consciousness that we have right now in this moment. We need one pole of this spectrum to exist in order for us to understand the other end of the spectrum. We wouldn't know love if we didn't know what hate was. We wouldn't know what happiness was if we didn't know what sadness was. We wouldn't know what cold is if we didn't know what hot was. Does that make sense? So I thought to myself, okay, how can I use my masculine and feminine energy while manifesting? How can I simultaneously actively manifest and passively manifest? Because I do think that having that sort of divine balance and divine union between the two is what really brings things to life. I think that is like the driving creative life force behind anything that you're doing. And when you're unbalanced and you're leaning in towards one a little bit more than the other, it creates resistance. It creates friction between you and what you're trying to manifest. Because if you're too much in your masculine energy and you are actively manifesting a little too hard, then you're not allowing room in your life for flow. You're not allowing room in your life for surrender and focusing your energy inward. You're focusing all of your energy outward, and there's no room for creativity, possibility, because it's all simply just structure and order and routines and systems and like this is how it needs to be. And if you live your day-to-day life like that, there's no magic. And on the reverse side, if you're living your life too much in your feminine energy and you're passively manifesting a little too hard, then there may not be much output of energy. You might not be taking the inspired action when it comes. There is no structure or order, and things could possibly get a little chaotic or even overwhelming, and there's a little bit too much time and space where you're living in this sort of fantasy, rose-colored glasses, la la land, and you're not grounded. There's no practicality to your day-to-day. You may not be putting much out into the world in that case, So while you can still strongly manifest in either one of these energies if you do happen to be unbalanced and you're, leaning towards one and the other, because trust me, I have done it. I've had time periods in my life where I'm in my masculine energy and I've manifested things and I've achieved my goals and it's all great, but I'm burnt out. I'm tired, boss. And then there's times where I've been in my feminine energy and in my flow and surrendering, and I'm calling things in, but maybe not in the areas that I intentionally wanted them. Or things sort of are just flowing in with like no rhyme or reason, or not really any super strong purpose other than like, okay, cool, that was a nice little moment, that was a nice little thing I manifested, but where do we go from here? I'm hoping that makes sense, but what I'm trying to say is if you're exclusively living in either active or passive manifestation, it may not be sustainable, or at least you're not going to be manifesting to the potential that you could be manifesting. And like I said, this is all from just personal experience. This is all from trial and error. I may not still have it all right. I may not still have it all together, but I'm at least a lot happier and I'm a lot more balanced, and I have much more of a clear understanding of how these energies work within me and where I can use them in my life to gracefully and seamlessly live in alignment with my dream life. And I will say, once you do that, you'll realize that you've kind of been living your dream life already. So when I'm intentionally creating moments for myself where I'm in my feminine energy exclusively and I'm passively manifesting things, I am able to fully and completely sit in that creative power and, reach up into the metaphysical and bring something and pull something into physicality, using that magic, using that opportunity for possibility. And this allows me to go into my subconscious or communicate with my unconscious to sort of peel back all the layers of conditioning or ego or expectation and look at what is beneath my perception of awareness. Because I know that whatever lives here creates 90% or more of my lived experience. So I am intentionally creating opportunities for that in my day-to-day routine. And I'm intentionally bringing that energy into different areas of my life. Now, when I'm intentionally creating time and space for my masculine energy to come out, and I'm working on actively manifesting and bringing things into fruition, I'm able to receive that idea or vision that maybe came to me when I was in my feminine energy and take inspired action towards that and plan things out and take the steps that are needed to attain that thing. And that's sort of how both of these things harmoniously play together. When you're actively manifesting something, you're using your conscious awareness, you're making conscious choices, And in your day-to-day life, you're observing your thoughts and emotions and behaviors and your outside world and saying to yourself, okay, what is it that needs to change? What do I need to shift? There's also a theory that I really subscribe to based in quantum physics called the observer effect, which is the idea that you can change the outcome of something by simply observing it. When you're in your conscious awareness and sort of using a little bit more of your masculine energy, you can observe certain things about yourself, your identity, self-concept, behaviors, thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and influence your subconscious mind. Influence the way you passively manifest simply by observing it. So like I said, there's this divine union between both of these energies within us that helps us manifest our dream life seamlessly. Our conscious awareness is responsible for a lot of those very pivotal points in our life, those realizations and epiphanies that sort of come to us and cause something to shift in our subconscious mind. And it changes the way we view our reality. It changes our subjective experience. And then our inner creator, our feminine energy, takes that and multiplies it. It takes that and creates with it. So to go full circle back to the Hermetic principles, you might even say that masculine and feminine energy, or active and passive manifesting, are the same concept, manifested differently. You need both to manifest. So this was my thought process behind and how I sort of worked through that conversation with my partner and my limiting beliefs behind the way I need to manifest. Because at the end of the day, we can all make these goals for ourselves, but if we are not doing the work, let me rephrase that. If we're not doing the inner and outer work, meaning the active and passive manifesting to achieve that, then we're gonna be trying for a long time, okay? So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Please feel free to talk to me in the comment section. I know there's probably so many other avenues this conversation could go. These are just my thoughts and what I've been thinking lately and how I worked through and processed some limiting beliefs around how I manifest. So thank you so much for tuning in and watching this video. I love you. Thanks for coming back, and I hope to see you in my next video.